Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lone Wolf Prepper channel. This is Tom, the Lone Wolf Prepper. I decided that I'm going to do some lives during the week instead of videos because for some reason YouTube, it's taken 3 or 4 hours just to upload a 10-minute video. So going live will be faster. Anyway, I'm here tonight to talk about a few things. The couple Supreme Court decisions we've had in the last week that are important, and JoJo still being their man on the Democratic side in a country that is divided. Anyway, first we'll talk about the decision that came out today about Trump's immunity, that the Supreme Court sided with Trump, and he does have presidential immunity. Really? Wow. I mean, I'm glad some of the justices on the Supreme Court can understand the Constitution. But anyway, as I'm going through this too, I want everybody to remember top Democrats, including your President Joe Biden, has said that the amendments to the Constitution are not absolute. I just want you all to remember that as I'm going through this, okay? But January 6th, okay. You know, they can't let that go, okay? This fake story that they're trying to say happened. They just can't let it go. Keep repeating the lie. Keep repeating the lie. Just like old Goebbels in the Third Reich, right? Keep repeating the lie, and people will believe it. Okay. Number one, they want to say Trump incited the mob. No, Trump didn't incite the mob. And it wasn't a mob, it was a protest by level-headed people. Okay. You know what incited us or made us angry, why we had all that? Is because you guys stole the election and did a coup on the the American people. That's why. Okay. And anyway, Trump didn't incite him. You stealing the election started this whole process. And January 6th was a setup for conservatives by the other side. A complete setup. Anyway, and the lies. And I watched Joe Biden's little 5-minute speech on the decision. And the lies that they just keep coming out of the Democratic's mouth to try to scare the average American that Trump is a Hitler, okay? And he's going to take all your freedoms away and stuff and force you to accept stuff that you don't want to accept, you know. Basically projecting what they're doing onto Trump. By the way, let's talk about January 6th, okay? The peaceful protest that was going on. And even though they want to try to hide the videos, I've seen them of the BLM and Antifa dressed in their garb, trying to get the I keep saying mob, it wasn't a mob, trying to get the patriots upset, breaking the windows in the Capitol. They're the ones causing the destruction and stuff. Okay? And then the flashbang grenades. And then how many of the protesters were armed? 0. How many of them died? 4. Now, how could they died if they didn't have no guns? Oh, that's right. You guys, the other side, took them out, okay? Invited them in. Anyway, started the whole ruckus. But the lies. You know, now since this ruling, Trump's going to make it so there can't be no abortions. No, see, abortion that word is not in the Constitution. So no matter how much you liberals want it to be part of the federal government policies, it can't be. It is a state's issue. And yes, abortion is still legal in the United States, just not in every state, because some states have morals and won't allow it. Okay? And if you got the states that still allow abortion, if you didn't think, anyway, just move to a state where you can use abortion as your birth control if you're so concerned about it. And then voting rights. Okay, he's going to take away people's right to vote. No, he's going to enforce voting laws. And I think there should be, you have to pull an ID out. I got to pull an ID out for everything. Okay? Just so they can see who I am. Except for voting. Because if you make people get an ID, which everybody legally has to have anyway, either a state ID or a driver's license, okay, or else you can't do anything. But if you're an illegal, well, you can get state IDs now anyway. So anyway, but yeah, pull out the ID. But no, Trump's going to sit there and take all that away because he got the Supreme Court upheld the law. Okay, and then another thing. Mobs after Nancy Pelosi. People were just storming the Capitol, running through the halls with their pitchforks and their torches, trying to hunt down Nancy Pelosi. So that's like Cortez. Where was she? Blocks away, and she said she was running for lies. Anyway, and then gallows were set up for Mike Pence. God, they seem so dramatic about stuff. All right? Lies. What was the effect of January 6th? I don't know. We're dealing with 3.5 years later, and they're still trying to bring up this insurrection that never happened. Still trying to take Donald Trump to trial for it. Still holding American citizens in the Washington, D.C. gulag in inhuman conditions. And one day, the guards there now will be the prisoners, and the prisoners will be the guards. That day's coming. Anyway, but it's a pack of lies. Scare tactics. Oh my God. And then he's, Trump's, a king now. If he gets in, he can do what he wants. And I won't do that. George, and then they bring up George Washington into it. How can a Democrat bring up a founding father when they hate him so much and try to compare themselves to a founding father? They hate him. Joe Biden, you have nothing in common with George Washington. Believe me. He will look at you and say, this is how pathetic the country we founded became, that you're president. Anyway, but, now it makes the president a king because he has immunity from prosecution, so he can have a private meeting with somebody. Okay? But so, nothing to do with you there, Joe, huh? Hunter, two-tiered legal system. What about all those secret classified documents you had in your garage in boxes next to your Corvette for God knows how many years? See, I had a top secret clearance, and I know the rules to it and stuff. And you're not allowed to do that. Any material that we took that was classified, that came out of the safe, we had to sign it out and sign it back in. We weren't allowed to leave the building. We weren't allowed to go next to a copy machine. Definitely weren't allowed to leave it in boxes in our garage. But don't worry, Joe. You're not a king, okay? You're a bumbling fool, okay? And then, let's not forget about, Joe and the Democrats prosecuting and persecuting your prime political rival, okay? All over made up stuff. Oh, he's been charged with he's been found guilty of 34 crimes. And Joe, you haven't done nothing wrong. You know, this is I get, you know, all politicians should be brought to the same standard Trump was. Bill Clinton hush money, and God knows how much I think over 17 million has been paid from taxpayers' money from the Congress and senators and congressmen that had to settle sexual harassment or whatever cases. But let's go after Trump. Yeah, I say morally he screwed up that day, without a doubt. And he's paid for it. I'm sure he learned his lesson. You know, never act like a Democrat because they'll come after you. That's the rule he learned. Okay? Never act like a Democrat. You know, that was the thing too. When Trump wasn't president, he gave money to both sides. Anyway, just wondering, something that's just curious about. But anyway, that was one of the rulings, okay? And the other side just losing their minds over it. What about the other ruling that happened less than a week ago? About how the federal government is allowed to pressure social media platforms to take people off and stuff. Boy, you were all hailing that. That was great. Well, what happens, Democrats, when the status quo changes and we get somebody a Republican besides Trump in office that's acts like a Democrat and decides to do it to you guys? Double-edged sword. It will be used against you as soon as the status quo changes. But whatever. You guys don't have the foresight. You can't see 5 seconds ahead of what you're going to do. You act completely on emotion. Okay? It's like when you got rid of the House Speaker. All the Democrats voted for it because, oops! But it doesn't matter. You got another piece of shit in there. All politicians are paid for. That's why Trump is hated so much. Because he don't need nothing from D.C., nothing from a lobbyist. He's just trying to be the president, serve the people, and give us our country back. But you know what you got to do, Trump, to give our country back? Downsize the government. Cut your cabinet in half. Get rid of the IRS, the FBI, the CIA. No federal police force. Let's start following the Constitution. I'm not going to get into that, okay? But yeah, the ruling, where social media or the government can do that. Since when can the government do anything to restrict my rights? They're the ones who's supposed to be handcuffed. We're supposed to restrict their power, be able to. But when 1776 comes, that's going to happen anyway. Now let's move on to the next subject. JoJo. JoJo is their man. I mean, I don't know what happened Thursday. It must have been a cheap fake we saw. Excuse me. That crying that we saw on CNN and Van Jones saying, boy, I really like him, but, he's got to go. All that we saw Thursday right after the debate when the whole world's eyes, the whole world, not just the country, eyes were open to this feeble man that we got in charge of, supposedly in charge of our country. I mean, if he had the codes to the nuclear weapons and you were Putin, wouldn't you just be a little bit uneasy? But now it's Monday. The weekend's passed. Everything's fine. JoJo had a cold. That's what it was. He had a cold. Now, I will admit that I cannot take antihistamines. Antihistamines confuse me to the point, and I'm not kidding about this, where I can't even add 2 + 2. So I can't take them. So maybe he's allergic to them too. CNT or something that's in him. That's what I'm allergic to, some chemical that's in him. But, he had a cold. Okay. And then today they were talking about over the weekend when he had that meeting and stuff with his family. What should he do? And then they did blaming his debate prep team. Okay. Now I just got one question. Okay, you're the president of the United States. You deal with the president stuff every single day. You know the job better than anybody in the country right at that time. Why do you need the debate prep? Why in the world would you have to debate prep? You'd have more information about what's going on than Donald Trump. I mean, you've been debating for over 50 years. Why do you have to debate prep? I don't understand. That makes no sense. In a week? What, were you sitting there for a week telling them what the current events were? I know if I had to get up there or if I had to debate somebody about being a cowboy, I'd get up to a podium and debate them. I wouldn't have to do any prep. I do it every day. Why would I have to prep? I just don't understand it. You know, I'm sure Trump's prep is, I'll watch the news today. That's what an intelligent man, I mean, I realize it's a big night, but it's what you do every day. It's like coming home and talking to your wife about your job. It should be no big deal, especially a week's worth of prep. Maybe he's not really the president, or he doesn't really know what's going on. Oh, we know he doesn't know what's going on because he's beat Medicare to death. Yeah, I got that second debate coming up in September. Do we really need to see another spectacle like that? I mean, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the whole country to see him on stage like that. It shows we're weak and we have incompetent leadership from the president on down. Immoral pricks threatening the whole world. But don't worry, they got everything under control. Anyway, but like I say, after the debate, they're calling for him. He has to be replaced. Worst performance, crying. I mean, they couldn't even say it was a cheap fake then. Now they'll probably say it was. But now they're all jumping on the bandwagon again. I guess the cheat is on. The cheat is on. Okay. They'll try anything. We didn't do nothing last time they cheated, and we still got our guys sitting in jail because they stood up for them cheating. Okay. They don't, like I say, until us Patriots become a wall they can't get past, and we start using that wall to push them the hell back and then wrap it around them and put them in their prison. Like I say, you know what I think we should do? Just surround DC. Turn it into their little prison. Okay? So they can't leave. No way. They're stuck there. Okay? But anyway, so he's their man now. Poof! It's Monday. Everything's better. JoJo looked great. They're actually saying he won the debate. And Trump said all these lies. I don't even want to get into it again. Because like I say, all of that was Joe Biden lying his butt off when he could speak coherently and Donald Trump defending the truth. And that's what it always is with liberals and conservatives. We're always on the defensive. Why? Because we're letting these little lunatics sitting there let us think they're right. Don't comply. Don't listen to them. Up yours. Okay, that's where it is. Anyway, and then what I've been seeing, I watch some liberal media podcasts and stuff like that. But they're really pushing get out the vote, okay, because they realize that there are definitely Democrats that are not going to vote for Donald Trump. But they also realize that after Thursday, there's a lot of Democrats that just aren't going to vote. Okay. You lost them. What do you expect? You know, if you got to get somebody to vote for Joe Biden by cutting down Donald Trump, why don't you try to say something great about Biden? Anyway, like you were saying before debate, how he's going to crush him. Remember, Tony? The old two roosters in the ring? Joe Biden all pumped up. And big old fat Trump. I guess my comment on that was right. You really have quite an imagination. Anyway, which brings me into my next subject. Divided we will fall. And that's all I see. You know, that debate showed the whole country what Joe Biden was, like we have known for years. But there are still some people that can't wake up. Both sides think they're right. Now, I believe that my interpretation of the Constitution is right and the Founding Fathers is right. I don't believe all this stuff that liberals see in the Constitution is there. I believe a lot of the stuff that they want in the Constitution is the 10th Amendment, the state's issue, the state's rights. You know, let the states deal with it. Okay? But no. You know, liberals think they're free. Freedom is not being able to do the most craziest thing you want, no matter who it hurts or who it affects. Okay, that's a democracy. In a democracy, you can justify anything. But see, we got this thing called a constitutional republic. That's why you can't do that. Because we have laws that protect people from that type of behavior. You know, like in a democracy, okay, if we had over 50% wanted slavery of white people, guess what? We'd have slavery of white people. And what is it? The 14th? God, I can't remember. The slavery, 14th or 16th, whatever. Brain fart right now. That would apply because we can bring back slavery because we're in a democracy and 51% of the people want it. Okay. There's a lot of people in this country that want a lot of stuff that they don't realize the repercussions of what would happen if they actually got their utopia. Okay. Anyway, and I don't know how they can feel they're free. I mean, all you do is look at the government to make everything fair for you. Take money from me to give it to you to make it fair because I may have a dime more that you want. You know, when people ask me to give to charity, I don't give to charity. You know why? Because I tell them, write my congressman and tell them that you need more of my tax money. I give to charity every month. It's called federal and state tax. I get nothing from the federal or state. So that means all the taxes I pay goes to somebody else. That means I'm paying my charity. A fair share of charity, too. What, 20% a year of my wages? Jeepers, you only have to give the Catholic Church 10%. I don't know, maybe I'm not Catholic, but that's what it was back in the 80s. Maybe it's gone up. Maybe the Catholic Church is demanding 25% now. You know, just to keep a little bit of a higher than the government. Anyway, the division's there. Too many people are believing this stuff. Too many people are believing Trump is a Hitler. I mean, I don't know how you believe it anyway. But anyway, these people, well, what's the difference? These people believe that if you think you're something, you get to be that. And that's just the way it is. I feel I'm a cat. Okay, you're a furry. Here, we'll get you a litter box. This is the insanity conservatives, a free-thinking mind has to deal with. Somebody who knows, I don't even want to say right from wrong. I want just reality from fantasy. But no, they see it all. And that's another thing on these liberal sites. They keep pushing what Joe Biden said. Trump wants to take your right to reproduction. Okay? No. He just doesn't want nothing to do with abortion. Abortion should have never came up in the debate because that word is not in the Constitution. I want to see you debate once, all 90 minutes, where they sit there and have a Constitution in front of them, and they start asking questions about the Constitution and say, how do you feel about this? Like they used to have debates when the Constitution used to mean something to people. All I know is I listen to all this stuff, and these people, to believe this, that you are a continuous victim, and you need the government to come in and make everything fair for you. I don't know about you people, but I grew up dirt poor. Nothing was ever fair in my life, and nothing is fair now. Okay? I get my ass worked off at my age because I don't have no younger people to do it. I'm going on my late 50s, and I can still outwork 20-year-olds. And I don't believe it's because I'm in great shape. It's just they're not, and they don't have it up here. We're all in the sinking ship together. But they got them on this side, okay? You don't like these people, and you don't like those people, okay? And we'll tell you why you're supposed to hate each other. And don't try talking to each other, because if you do, we'll just shut down your social media account. How are we ever going to come together if we don't communicate about the problems in this country? And all they do is got the pieces of crap in charge saying that the problem is the other side. Okay. This is why our founding fathers were so scared of governments. And they tried everything they could do to protect the people from the government. But they knew that eventually the time would come that with all their safeguards, it wouldn't be enough. And that's the time we've come to. So, you want to stay divided, that's fine. The other side wants to take on all us vets, that's fine. I would rather live in peace and harmony. But if we got to have a war first to settle this, and we got to force freedom and independence and liberty on you morons, then that's what's going to happen. Just like happened in the first Revolutionary War. 80% were forced to accept freedom, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and their God-given rights. Imagine that having to be forced on you because you're so brainwashed that you think you're free. But let me tell you about freedom. Only true freedom comes when you are truly independent. You depend on a system or somebody for anything. You just lost part of your freedom. Anyway, so divided we fall, and it's coming. Prepare for the fight. Okay? And you Call of Duty warriors are going to find out real quick that a real firefight is way different than your computer game. Anyway, and I'm going to finish up with this. YouTube's really putting screws to me. Okay? I put out a video today. Joe Biden, the best president this country's ever seen. Okay. Just playing with YouTube a little bit. They want to shut me down. That's fine. But, they after they see what now. Oh, we'll take that off the feed. This is the thing. Okay. On YouTube, the number of views is directly proportional, or the The number of times your content is put on the feed is directly proportional to the number of views you get, which is directly proportional to the number of subscribers you get. So what I'm saying is YouTube has complete control of the channel because they can just take it off the feed. They don't have to shut your channel down. They just take it off the feed, okay? No matter how good the content's doing. And that's what they've been doing to me. They just basically started taking my content off the feed. Or once I get to 400 views on my shorts, you notice that a lot of my views are 400 views, 400 plus, for the high 300s to mid 500s or high 400s, is because once I hit that 400, all of a sudden they stop putting my short on short on the feed. They stop putting it on the feed. And it don't matter if it's just 700 times on the feed to get 500 views. Boom! And then when they're not paying attention, I've had them put shorts on the feed 18,000 times. Oh, that's when I get 11,000 views. And that's when I'll sit there and get 10, 12 subscribers. Anyway, I get the analytics, YouTube. I'm not stupid, okay? And I'm saving all this information because hopefully the time will come when YouTube can be charged with violating our civil rights. Okay? You are a public platform. You are like the park, the town square. Okay? The town square where anybody can come up and speak and be the town crier and speak his piece. Okay? You're that public platform. And when time comes, when all this is fixed, you will be charged accordingly. The only way we're going to never allow this to happen in our lifetime is to bring the truth out and punish everybody that is connected with taking our civil and our God-given rights away. Okay? You are not almighty government. And when you finally piss off conservatives off enough, you're going to find out. And it doesn't matter how much YouTube you want to shadow ban. I know you don't. I just, YouTube, why don't you just cut me off? You don't like what I got to say? Just hit the beep, delete button. Nothing will happen to you. Because I'm not going to go away. And then I'm going to send one of your poor little minions to his cry room or her cry room or its cry room every day. My thought of the day is not going to stop. Okay? You have the power, YouTube. Let's see if you have the balls to use it. Come on. Hit that strike button. Cancel me. This is one thing. All these other YouTubers, right? Go to Truth Social. You got to pay for it. Go to Rumble. You got to pay for it. Go to Patreon. You got to pay for it, but I can speak my mind. Well, let me tell you, YouTube doesn't cancel me at all, and I say whatever I want. Like the election was stolen. Okay? The pharmaceutical company should be charged with murder for the people that died because of their clot shot. Okay? For saying that the U.S. federal government is the enemy of the American people in the world. YouTube, don't cut me off. Okay? Why? Anyway, I'm not going to shut up. I will be heard. My whole purpose on YouTube is to get off of YouTube. What do I mean by that? I mean, I want to get organized. I want to get the problem solved so I can join my retirement years and not have to deal with this Twilight Zone world we live in now. or a nuclear holocaust. Whatever. By the way, I think everybody should have a channel on YouTube. Every conservative should have a channel. Just to put out one video telling the federal government how you feel. Okay? And just bombard YouTube with that. I would love to see nothing better than 150 million conservative channels on YouTube and watch them squirm. Anyway, everybody have a good evening. That's all I have for you tonight. This Lone Wolf Prepper out.